across the table now for a look at what's making buzz online on social media. Emma James here with Media Watch. I guess no surprise that the Women's World Cup is really getting a lot of attention on social media, but you're looking at the battle against sexism and how that's being talked about.
Yes, it is interesting to see whether this is a battle that's being won in a post-MeToo era. Um, is there a level playing field for female footballers? Well, this cartoon certainly seems to think that there is. You play like a girl, says the banner, and a gentleman in the crowd is saying, remember when that was an insult? But the interesting thing to note with this one, it's done by a gentleman called Mike Thompson, and it was actually drawn in 1999. When the US was about to host its first Women's World Cup. And I'm not sure that we've really moved on all that far. I don't think that we've moved on from saying you play like a girl as though it's an insult. Some of the media here in France is taking it all very seriously. L'Equipe, the big sporting newspaper, has this as its front page. Can we do it again? Obviously hoping that the women can replicate what the men did and we can be double champions of the world in football. But they give with one hand and take with the other, I think it's fair to say. This is the cover of their magazine, which is out this weekend. Atomic Blonde, it says. And this woman isn't actually a footballer. She's just an agent, but she's suitably half-dressed. I'm not sure why the blouse is unbuttoned quite so low, and she's sporting a pair of leather trousers. And it does make you a little suspicious that they are trying to pander to male readers of the paper by putting a blonde on the front cover who they think is perhaps more attractive than the footballers themselves, because it should be the footballers who are the stars of the show right now. Le Parisien has a considerably more positive headline here, but note that it's a quote from a former player, so perhaps unsurprising. It's not an editorial team that's come up with this line. Female football, women's football, is not a subcategory, she says. But there are lots of people really trying to push back against sexism, against the cliches and the stereotypes. One of the sponsors of the England women's team has actually rejigged the Three Lions, very popular song that is sung on the terraces and has been for many years now. It's now the Three Lionesses. They haven't done the whole song, which is a bit disappointing. They've just done the talking bit at the beginning, but it's still quite emotive, I think it's fair to say. Take a look at this.
So many jokes, so many sneers, all those well done girls. Wear you down through the years, but we still see that tackle by more. And when Nikita scored, Steffi belting the ball and Nobsy dancing. Football's coming home.
And it's not just England taking a strong stance on sexism. The German team taking a very ballsy stance, I think it's fair to say. We don't have balls, but we know how to use them, is one of the words in a video that they've released. It's gone viral. Millions of people have watched it. It's a really interesting watch. They talk about the fact that no one in the country even knows their names, that when they first started winning tournaments, their first actual prize was a tea set, would you believe? So incredible, really, the kind of sexism that goes on. They talk about battling sexism all of the time. And saying that, women aren't just there to have babies, we're there to score goals. Our makeup is mud, our high heels are football boots with studs in. The men's team have joined in too with this video, but I'm not sure that it gives quite the right message because they appear to be making breakfast, which kind of implies that it would be the women doing it if only they weren't busy with the World Cup.
We're just switching roles. We're filling in right now.
Exactly, which is a bit of a cliche. It's not, however, as bad as the German stance back in 2011, where members of the German squad decided to pose for Playboy. They said they were trying to challenge the cliche that all female footballers are butch. I hardly think that that's really the most important message to get out there. But it is interesting to see that now that the tournament's underway, lots of people talking about it. This woman saying definitely a record attendance in here for women's football in France tonight. And it's the French male team are watching too, apparently, from their base in Turkey. So it's good to see that they are supporting it, as are lots of male football fans. This guy saying, I don't want to come across as condescending, but he said it was an excellent first half. France technically very good, no diving, abusing officials, acting, etc. Pure football and good to watch. And that's a message that we're seeing coming through a lot. People very pleased to see No descent, no diving, says this Twitter user, a refreshing world-class opener. And it is that idea that the women's game hasn't fallen victim to that kind of play acting that we see so much in the men's game. A lot of people seem very happy with that.
And nice to see the Women's World Cup being talked about with more depth also. A very important message for young girls and the next generation coming up. Emma, thanks so much for that.